February might be short, but it's packed with exciting releases for TV fans, a major reboot, brand new series with big hooks, and a few returns that left people seriously invested last time around across Netflix, Prime Video, Apple TV+, Hulu, and more. I'm KG, this is Watch This Instead, and today we're breaking down the most anticipated streaming releases in February 2026. I have 14 amazing picks for you, let's jump right in. Kicking things off in February on the first day of the month is Vanished, and this one has a brutally effective hook. Alice Munro, played by Kaylee Cuoco, heads to Paris for what's supposed to be a romantic getaway with her boyfriend Tom, played by Sam Claflin. And then, on a train to the south of France, Tom disappears. No warning, no goodbye, no clean explanation, just a normal moment that suddenly turns into a nightmare. From what the trailer sets up, the story quickly shifts from missing person mystery to something far more paranoid. Alice starts chasing leads and discovers there may be pieces of Tom's life she never knew existed. The more she pushes, the more the show leans into the unsettling question, did she ever really know him at all? And because it's a tight 4-episode thriller, it looks built for that one clue leads to 10 more questions momentum, where every new detail makes the situation feel less safe. Tonally, expect something sleek and anxiety-driven, romantic travel vibes turning into a slippery trust no one spiral with themes about identity, deception, and how quickly a relationship can feel like a crime scene when the truth starts cracking through. If you like missing person mysteries, conspiracy-tinged thrillers, and stories where every answer makes you more suspicious than before, Vanished should be high on your February watch list. Netflix brings back The Lincoln Lawyer Season 4 on February 5th, and the reason this one's such an easy, most anticipated pick is the premise. Mickey Haller is no longer defending someone else, this time he's fighting for himself. Season 4 is based on Michael Connelly's novel The Law of Innocence, and it throws Mickey into his most personal, high-stakes battle yet. A case where the pressure isn't just professional, it's existential. The show's still built around the same addictive engine. Mickey working cases out of his Lincoln, thinking on his feet and turning legal chaos into strategy. But the setup this season promises a much more intense, locked-in kind of momentum. It's less new client of the week and more one massive fight where every move matters, with the stakes closing in from every angle, the courtroom, law enforcement, and the people who'd love to see Mickey finally lose. In terms of who's back, you've got the core team that makes the show work. Manuel Garcia Rulfo as Mickey, plus Becky Newton as Lorna, Jazz Raycole as Izzy, Angus Sampson as Cisco, and Neve Campbell returning across the full season as Maggie. Which matters because this storyline is exactly where you want that character dynamic in play. There are also some strong new faces stepping into the legal battlefield, including Constance Zimmer as a tough prosecutor and Sasha Alexander as an FBI agent, which suggests this season is widening the pressure beyond just the courtroom. If you like legal thrillers that move fast, mix character drama with clever strategy, and keep tightening the screws until the verdict, Season 4 looks like the show's most intense version of itself, and it should be especially satisfying for anyone who loves courtroom tension, high-stakes mysteries, and a protagonist forced to outthink everyone when the woes start closing in. Landing on Peacock on February 8th is The Burbs, and this one looks like the perfect suburbia is a horror movie binge, just with a wicked comedic edge. It's a modern reimagining of the 1989 cult classic, but the premise is totally accessible even if you've never seen the original. The show follows Samira Fisher, played by Keke Palmer, who relocates with her husband Rob, played by Jack Whitehall, to his childhood neighborhood to raise their newborn. The kind of place that sells itself as safe, friendly, and picture perfect, and of course that's exactly where things start feeling off. The trailer teases a slow creep of suspicious neighbors, weird little community rituals, and that delicious paranoia where every smile feels like it's hiding something. It plays like a mystery and a satire at the same time. A new mom trying to settle into the good life while the neighborhood starts acting like it's running on secrets. The cast is stacked with comedy weirdos in the best way. Alongside Alongside Palmer and Whitehall, you've got Paula Pell and Julia Duffy plus Mark Proksch popping up as part of the neighborhood ecosystem, and Justin Kirk in a key role that looks like trouble with a friendly face. Behind the scenes, it's created and showrun by Celeste Huey, who's written for shows like Dead to Me and Palm Royale, and the vibe they're aiming for is genre blending, comedy, suspense, and a little whiff of horror, using suburbia to talk about identity, community, and that specific feeling of being the outsider in a place that insists everything is totally normal. If you like dark comedies with mystery hooks, the kind of show where the cul-de-sac feels like a trap and you can't tell if you should laugh or lock the door, The Burbs should be a really fun February watch. February also brings back the Artful Dodger Season 2 on Hulu on the 10th of the month, and if you missed Season 1, the hook is ridiculously fun. This is an Oliver Twist spin-off where the Artful Dodger has reinvented himself as Dr. Jack Dawkins, played by Thomas Brodie Sangster, a talented young surgeon in 1850s Australia who's desperate to stay legitimate right up until Fagin, played by David Thewlis, turns up and drags him back toward crime. Season 2 looks set to lean even harder into that push-pull, Jack trying to build a real life while his past keeps yanking him into schemes, secrets, and trouble he can't fully outrun. The character triangle is still the engine, Jack Scott between the thrill and chaos of Fagin, who's basically temptation in human form, and Lady Belle Fox, played by Maya Mitchell, the governor's fiercely intelligent daughter who's determined to break every rule of the era to become a surgeon. Their dynamic gives the show its charm. It's part romance, part heist energy, part historical drama, and it moves with real momentum. Season 2 also adds new pressure to Jack's world with fresh faces like Inspector Henry Boxer, played by Luke Bracey, plus other new arrivals that suggest the net is tightening around Port Victory. And behind it all, the series is still guided by its creators James McNamara, David Mayer, and David Taylor, who clearly know the trick here. Keep it fast, witty, and slightly dangerous so it feels like a swashbuckling caper with real stakes. If you like period shows that don't feel stuffy, crime-adjacent adventures, a charming rogues trying and failing to stay on the straight and narrow, and a story that balances humor, romance, and tension, Season 2 of The Artful Dodger should be a really easy February binge. Coming to Prime Video on February 11th is Cross Season 2, and if you want a crime thriller that moves fast and hits hard, this is one of the month's biggest returns. The premise is built around Alex Cross, played by Aldous Hodge, a Washington DC homicide detective and forensic psychologist who's uniquely good at getting inside the minds of killers, and Season 2 throws him into a case that sounds like a headline from the near future. Cross is hunting a ruthless vigilante who's targeting corrupt billionaire magnates, turning the city into a moral minefield where the villain might be the one getting cheered on. This isn't just a whodunit, it's a pressure cooker pursuit where Cross has to balance justice, public perception, and the personal fallout of chasing someone who sees themselves as a necessary correction to a broken system. That's the fun tension. Cross is trying to stop a killer, but the motives behind the killings complicate everything, and the show leans into themes of power, morality, and who society decides deserves punishment. The core cast is back, which matters because the relationships are a huge part of the show's appeal. Isaiah Mustafa returns as Cross's partner John Sampson, alongside Juanita Jennings, Alona Tao, and Samantha Walks, plus the wider Cross family and precinct circle. And Season 2 adds some very recognizable faces, including Matthew Lillard, Wes Chatham, and Janine Mason, a strong signal that the new case is bringing bigger players and nastier complications into Cross's orbit. Creator Ben Watkins is still steering the ship, and the show's pitch remains the same, a modern twisted crime thriller that mixes post-pounding investigation with a lead character who's as much about psychology as he's about action. If you're into serial killer cat and mouse, morally messy cases, and slick bingeable crime drama, especially with a central duo you actually want to follow from episode to episode, Cross Season 2 should be an easy February watch. Dropping on Netflix on Feb 12th is How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, and if the title sounds whimsical, the premise is not. This is a comedy thriller mystery from Lisa McGee, the creator of Dairy Girls, and it starts with a jolt. Three lifelong friends in their late 30s learn that a former schoolmate has died under suspicious circumstances, and instead of letting it go, they do the worst possible thing for their own peace of mind. They start digging. The main trio is Saoirse, Robin, and Dara, and the hook is that this isn't just about solving a death. The official setup teases that the women are trying to keep their own dark secret from coming to light while they chase answers, which gives the story that delicious pressure cooker energy. The closer they get to the truth, the more exposed they become themselves. Vibe-wise, everything being teased points to a very specific blend. Sharp Northern Irish humor sitting right next to something darker and more dangerous. It's being pitched around themes like friendship, memory, and the lives you thought you'd have versus the lives you actually got, which is exactly the kind of emotional grounding that makes a mystery bingeable rather than just twisty. If you like mysteries with a comedic bite, think chaos, secrets, and friends making increasingly questionable decisions while trying to stay one step ahead, this looks like a perfect February binge, especially if you've been waiting for Lisa McGee's next big swing. February is also bringing back Dark Wind Season 4 on AMC, and this is easily one of the month's most atmospheric returns. If you've never watched it, the premise is a 1970s set noir mystery rooted in the Navajo Nation, following tribal police officers who solve cases that sit right at the intersection of crime, culture, and community, and Season 4 looks like it's raising the stakes in a big way. The new season premieres on February 15th and is primarily based on the novel Ghost Wave from the Leaphorn and Cheese series by Tony Hillerman. The central case is a missing Navajo girl and a race against the clock investigation that puts Joe Leaphorn, played by Zan McLarnon, Jim Chi, played by Kiowa Gordon, and Bernadette Manuelito, played by Jessica Matten, beyond the home turf and into the grittier terrain of 1970s Los Angeles, where the search brushes up against an obsessive killer and ties to organized crime. It's a great setup because it keeps the show's grounded investigative core but expands the world and the danger in a way that feels natural for the story. If you love crime dramas that are moody, culturally specific, and genuinely suspenseful, where the setting is as important as the mystery, Dark Wind Season 4 should be high on your February list, especially if you want something tense and noir-ish that doesn't feel like the same old procedural. If you want a February binge that screams one decision ruins everything, 56 Days has a killer setup. The premise starts deceptively simple. Kira Wise, played by Dove Cameron, and Oliver Kennedy, played by Avon Jogia, meet by chance and fall into an intense, fast-moving relationship, the kind that feels thrilling, a little reckless, and almost too good to be true. And then the hook lands. 56 days later, a body is discovered, and the entire story becomes a puzzle about what really happened inside that whirlwind romance. From what's been teased, the season plays with dual momentum. You're watching the relationship form in real time, while in parallel an investigation starts tightening around it. The detective side is led by Carl Connolly, played by Dorian Missick, and Lee Reardon, played by Carla Souza, piecing together the timeline and pulling at inconsistencies as the perfect love story starts looking like something far darker. Behind the scenes, it's developed by Lisa Swerling and Karen Usher, and it's based on the novel 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard, with James Wan attached as an executive producer, which should tell you the show isn't afraid of leaning into dread and obsession when it needs to. Tone-wise, this looks like a sleek, modern, romantic thriller where chemistry and paranoia build side by side. And the big appeal is that central question: was this love or was it a trap? If you like mystery-forward thrillers, relationship stories with a dark undercurrent, and I need to know what happened binge pacing, 56 Days should be a very easy February click. Netflix's big February spy thriller return is The Night Agent Season 3, and this one is coming in hot on February 19th. The premise this time is built around a new mission that looks more international and more morally messy than ever. Peter Sutherland, played by Gabriel Basso, is back in the deep end chasing a rogue treasury agent who flees to Istanbul with sensitive intel, and what starts as a manhunt quickly opens up into something bigger. Money networks, buried government secrets, and the kind of conspiracy that doesn't want to be exposed. The trailer also teases Peter being forced into a deal with the devil type situation, which is exactly the kind of setup that makes this show so bingeable. He's always trying to do the right thing, but the job keeps pushing him into compromises. On the character side, you've got Basso leading again, with returning players like Chelsea Arrington back in the mix and Jacob Monroe continuing to feel like a problem you can't just walk away from. Season 3 also brings in some very recognizable new faces, including Jennifer Morrison, Stephen Moyer, and David Lyons, plus Genesis Rodriguez, who the official materials position as a key ally on Peter's new path. Creator Sean Ryan has been open about the spanning the globe approach this season, and you can feel it in what's being teased. Big locations, bigger stakes, and that same propulsive one clue leads to a far fight pacing the show is built on. If you like fast, high-stakes conspiracy thrillers, relentless momentum, and a lead character who keeps getting dragged deeper into national security chaos, The Night Agent Season 3 looks like one of February's easiest hit play and suddenly's 2 AM releases. Arriving on Apple TV Plus is The Last Thing He Told Me Season 2, and it drops on February 20th. This season is based on Laura Dave's sequel novel The First Time I Saw Him, so it's not just more of the same, it's the story pushing into a new chapter with fresh secrets. Premise-wise, without any spoilers, Hannah, played by Jennifer Garner, is pulled back into the kind of life she thought she'd escape, a life where trust is fragile, the past refuses to stay buried, and every answer comes with a cost. The trailer and official setup lean into that same core tension that made Season 1 so bingeable. Family stability versus survival, and how far someone will go to protect the people they love when the truth threatens to destroy everything they've rebuilt. The main cast is stacked. Garner returns alongside Angourie Rice as Bailey, with Nikolai Coster-Waldau and David Morse back in the mix, and Season 2 adds some very recognizable names including Judy Greer and Rita Wilson, plus Luke Kirby, John Noble, and Michael Hyatt. If you like domestic thrillers with a mystery engine, emotional stakes, and that one piece of the past changes everything momentum, Season 2 looks like a prime February binge, especially if you're here for tense family dynamics, secrets, and twisty investigations that stay character first. Next on the list is my personal most anticipated show of February, which is Paradise Season 2 on Hulu, dropping on the 23rd. And this is one of those rare thrillers where the premise alone does the work. If you don't want any spoilers, go check out episode 1 of Season 1 as there's a big twist at the end of it. Spoilers warning in the next few seconds, so be warned. The show is actually set inside an underground safe haven built after a global catastrophe, a controlled, polished community where everything looks stable, until the shocking death of the President of the United States cracks the entire system open. At the center is Xavier Collins, played by Sterling K. Brown, a Secret Service agent who's been trying to hold the line between order and chaos while quietly figuring out who's really in control. What's exciting about Season 2 is that it looks like the story is widening its scope. The new season teases bigger mysteries, higher stakes, and a sense that the rules of this world are about to be tested from multiple directions. It's still a conspiracy-driven thriller, but it's also about survival, truth, and what happens when a community built on secrecy starts to come apart at the seams. Cast-wise, Brown is back alongside Julianne Nicholson, Sarah Shahi, Nicole Bryden Bloom, with James Marsden continuing to factor into the season, and Season 2 also adds some really strong new faces including Shailene Woodley and Thomas Doherty, which is a great sign that the story is expanding beyond the familiar power players. And if you love the pacing of Season 1, the key reason is still here. It's created by Dan Fogelman, who knows how to make a mystery feel addictive without losing the emotional core. The tone remains slick, tense, and paranoid, the kind of show where every conversation feels loaded and every solution just opens a more dangerous door. If you're into high-concept thrillers, political intrigue, contained everyone has secrets drama, and mysteries that keep tightening the screws without drowning in lore, Paradise Season 2 should be one of February's easiest hit play returns. Coming on February 25th is the Scrubs reboot, airing on ABC and hitting Hulu the next day, and honestly this might be the warmest, most comfort food entry on the whole February slate. We're back at Sacred Heart with JD and Turk, older, a little wiser, and still completely incapable of acting like adults for more than 5 minutes. But the show isn't just doing nostalgia laps. The new season is built around them navigating how medicine has changed, while a fresh class of interns gets thrown into the same chaotic, exhausting, occasionally ridiculous hospital grind that made the original so addictive. Character-wise, the core draw is that classic chemistry, Zach Braff and Donald Faison back together as the ultimate TV bromance, with Sarah Chalke returning as Elliot and key fan favorites also in the mix like John C. McGinley as Dr. Cox and Judy Reyes as Carla. And to keep it feeling like a new chapter rather than a reunion special, the reboot brings in new faces too, including Vanessa Bayer and Joaquin Booster, plus the intern lineup who'll be taking the brunt of the chaos this time around. Behind the scenes, what makes this especially reassuring is that Bill Lawrence is involved again, and the reboot is clearly aiming for that same Scrubs sweet spot. Genuinely funny, surprisingly heartfelt, and able to blindside you with an emotional gut punch when you least expect it. The vibe we're being sold is classic Scrubs energy, just updated for a new era of healthcare and a new generation in the halls. If you want a February watch that mixes laugh-out-loud comedy, real emotional sincerity, and that specific comfort of hanging out with characters you already love while still getting new ones to latch onto, the Scrubs reboot is going to be a must-try. Dropping on Prime Video on February 26th is The Grey House, and this one looks like a proper prestige historical thriller, the kind with candlelit paranoia, coded conversations, and life or death stakes hiding behind polite society smiles. The premise is based on true events during the American Civil War. A group of women operating deep inside Confederate territory built a covert intelligence network using what starts as an underground railroad pipeline and transforming it into something even more dangerous, an underground spy operation designed to feed information to the North. From what's been teased, the story follows an unlikely alliance, a Virginia socialite who becomes the face of the operation, her mother, a formerly enslaved sister-in-arms, and a notorious courtesan, women who can move through rooms men might ignore, while quietly gathering secrets that could change the course of the war. And that's the hook. The battlefield here isn't just cannons and soldiers, it's drawing rooms, back corridors, coded messages, and the constant risk of being discovered by people with absolute power. Cast-wise, the headline name is Mary Louise Parker, with Daisy Head, Amethyst Davis, and Ben Vereen in major roles, plus a strong supporting lineup that includes familiar faces like Colin Morgan and Colin O'Donoghue. The show is executive produced by Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman, which fits the vibe this is going for. Large-scale, serious, and historically weighty, but driven by character and tension rather than big battlefield spectacle. If you like spy stories, wartime intrigue, and historical dramas where every conversation feels like it could get someone killed, The Grey House looks like one of February's best serious binge picks, especially if you're into stories about underestimated people quietly reshaping history. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters Season 2 lands on Apple TV Plus on February 27th, and if you want a big budget monster chaos with actual mystery baked in, this is one of the month's headline releases. The premise picks up with the fallout from Season 1, pushing our characters deeper into Monarch's world, and this time the story pulls them towards Skull Island, where buried secrets and new discoveries collide with a fresh, very bad problem. A new Titan threat that Apple is already teasing as a major escalation. Character-wise, the show keeps its two-lane structure. The modern-day trio, Kate, May, and Kentaro, caught in the present-day consequences of Monarch's secrets, while the series continues weaving in the Monarch legacy through Keiko and Lee Shaw, played across timelines by Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell. And yes, the monster side of the promise is very real. Apple has confirmed Godzilla and Kong are back in the mix this season, so it's not just human drama near monsters, it's leaning harder into the full MonsterVerse scale. The official season 2 tease is very clear about the vibe. More globe-trotting adventure, more conspiracy, more lore, and a bigger sense that Monarch's decisions are creating consequences that can't be contained anymore. If you're into MonsterVerse spectacle, secret organization mysteries, and sci-fi adventure that feels cinematic, Season 2 looks like a bigger, louder, wilder swing and a very easy February watch for anyone who wants their streaming lineup to include at least one show where the solution to a problem might be run. And that's a wrap on the most anticipated series hitting streaming in February. From high-stakes thrillers to smart drama, sci-fi spectacle, and something a little lighter to balance things out, February is shaping to have something for everyone. Let me know in the comments which February release you're most excited for. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share it with a fellow TV addict, and subscribe for more smart weekly recommendations. Thanks for watching, happy binging, see you in the next one, and remember, sleep is optional when there's one more episode.